Hi, welcome to a new episode in the Internet Surfer, hosting the most horror and creepiest stories from Reddit. Please don't forget to comment, like, share, and subscribe. Enjoy.
Going in that hospital was my very wrong decision. A horror story from Reddit, r/scarystories. I am Jack, and I have lived in this small town in the US my whole life. It is a quiet place, the kind where everyone knows everyone, and not many changes. But there is one place in town that everyone avoids, the old hospital on the outskirts. They say no one comes back from there, and I never believed it until I found out for myself. It started as a dare. My friends knew I was the skeptical type, never buying into the local ghost stories. So, when they dared me to spend the night at the hospital, I could not refuse. It was just an old, abandoned building. What could go wrong? The hospital was a massive, crumbling structure, swallowed by vines and shadows. The windows were shattered, and the air was thick with the smell of rot and mildew. The front door creaked loudly as I pushed it open, the sound echoing down the dark, empty corridors. I stepped inside, and immediately, I felt like I had made a mistake. The air was heavy, almost suffocating, and there was a deep, unnatural cold that seeped into my bones. But I kept going, telling myself it was just nerves. As I walked through the halls, my flashlight flickering with each step, I noticed something odd. The walls were covered in strange symbols, like they were drawn in a hurry. The further I went, the more I noticed, the symbols were smeared in what looked like blood. A sound echoed down the hall, a soft, almost imperceptible whisper. I froze, shining my flashlight around, but there was no one there. The whispering grew louder, surrounding me, until I could make out the words. "Leave, before it finds you." My heart pounded as I turned to run, but my feet felt like they were glued to the floor. The whispering became more frantic, more desperate, as if warning me of something. And then I saw it, a shadow at the end of the hall, moving towards me. It was tall and hunched, with eyes that glowed red in the darkness. I forced my legs to move, sprinting down the corridors, trying to find the exit. But the hospital seemed to twist and turn on itself, the hallway stretching endlessly. No matter which way I went, I could not find my way out. The whispering followed me, now mixed with low, guttural growls. The walls seemed to close in, and the cold was so intense that I could see my breath in the air. Panic set in as I realized I was completely lost, trapped in this nightmarish maze. Then I heard it, the sound of something dragging across the floor, getting closer. I did not dare look back, but I could feel it, the presence looming behind me. The air grew thicker, the whispers turning into screams. I finally stumbled into a room, slamming the door behind me. The room was pitch black, but I could hear something breathing heavily in the corner. My flashlight flickered back to life, revealing the source of the sound, a figure crouched in the corner, its face hidden in the shadows. Before I could react, it lunged at me, knocking the flashlight out of my hand. I scrambled to the door, but it would not budge. The figure was on me in seconds, its icy hands wrapping around my throat, squeezing the life out of me. As I gasped for air, I heard the whispers again, this time right in my ear. "You should have left." Everything went black. I do not know how long I was unconscious, but when I woke up, I was outside the hospital, lying in the overgrown grass. The sun was just rising, and the building looked as decrepit as ever. But I knew what I had experienced was real. The whispers, the shadows, the thing that tried to kill me, they were all real. For days after, I could not shake the feeling of dread that clung to me. I was plagued by nightmares, visions of that shadowy figure, the suffocating darkness, and the relentless whispers that warned me of dangers I could not see. But the worst part was the sickness that followed. It started with a fever, one that no amount of rest or medication could break. My parents grew worried as I became weaker, barely able to get out of bed. The doctors in town could not figure out what was wrong. I was admitted to the local hospital, where they ran test after test, but nothing came up. They said it was like my body was shutting down, as if I was being drained of life itself. My skin was pale, my eyes hollow, and every breath felt like a struggle. I spent weeks in that hospital, growing weaker by the day. My parents were beside themselves with worry, and the doctors were baffled. There was talk of moving me to a larger hospital in the city, but before they could, something strange happened. One night, as I lay in that sterile hospital room, I heard the whispers again. They were faint, like they were coming from the walls themselves. At first, I thought I was imagining it, but then the whispers grew louder, more insistent. "You need to leave, it's not safe." I tried to call out for the nurse, but my voice was too weak. The room grew colder, the air thick with the same unnatural chill I had felt in that cursed hospital. I was terrified, convinced that whatever had haunted me there had followed me, and now it was coming to finish the job. But then, just as quickly as the whispers started, they stopped. The coldness faded, and I could breathe again. The next morning, the doctors were stunned to find that my fever had broken. Over the next few days, I began to recover, gaining strength little by little. My parents did not waste any time. As soon as I was well enough, they made the decision to leave our small town and move to Chicago. They never told me exactly why, but they knew something was not right in that town, especially after what happened to me. We have been in Chicago for a few years now, and life is much better. The city is bustling, full of life, and the memories of that night have started to fade. I am healthier than I have ever been, and I have even managed to make new friends. But every now and then, I still get that feeling, the sense that something is watching me, waiting. I try to push those thoughts away, tell myself it is all in the past. But deep down, I know that night at the hospital will haunt me for the rest of my life. No matter how good things are now, I will never forget the horror of that place, the way it reached out and almost took me. Some nights, when it is quiet, I think I can still hear the whispers. And even though I am far away from that old hospital, I cannot shake the feeling.
Thanks for watching. Please comment, like, share and subscribe. The Internet Surfer on YouTube for more horror and scary stories.